Hi everyone and welcome to episode 194 of the Mighty Whites podcast. I'm Jack, as always joined by Casey.
Now then.
How's things, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad.
Good. Well, you know, you get to the end of a game like that in the cup and you're just happy to not be there. And I really found it interesting hearing the commentary. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a draw. Forgive an old Brit for crying, but this is the most stirring display of gallantry and sportsmanship since Mountbatten gave India back to the Punjabis. Which is a really odd one if you don't remember that episode of The Simpsons. But
that is the coolest. That was the coolest Todd Flanders ever was. Or was it Rod? Yeah. It was one of them.
Yeah. Who wants to build character? So Cardiff 2, Leeds 2. The first half was pretty god-awful.
Yeah. Darko JB looked great for the first 10 minutes. And then Leeds fell apart.
Yeah, we couldn't pass the ball. It was just everything that is bad about us when we're on a bad day. You know, it's not the first time that we've seen it. I'm sure it won't be the last. And then there's a very simple pass in behind Pascal Struijk, who seems to leave it for someone. I'm not sure who he thinks is there. But they run through. Joe Robles makes a decent first save, but they manage to work it through. And the person who put Michael Jackson songs in everyone's head all day, Jaden Philogene, scored. I am guessing that seeing as we had some technical difficulties just before KC started this, I'm guessing that they have just kicked in a bit more. He will be back in about a second. There we go.
I refuse to listen to you talk about Michael Jackson.
Yeah. But yeah, Jaden Philogene with the first goal. And then the second one is just cut inside, clip ball over the top. Llorente goes for it and misses it. But to be honest, the bigger issue is Shea Ojo's run straight from midfield into the middle of the box and absolutely no one's gone with him. He finishes well.
With both goals, you just watch the movements or probably more accurately, the lack thereof. Like, obviously, there's the initial mistake of Struijk leaves the ball, and I can only assume he thinks he's 10 yards closer to Robles than he is. Then gets done for pace. Sprints back in and stands almost directly behind Robles.
Yeah.
To be completely ineffective. Is it Llorente then comes out to close down the next pass, which then deflects inside, and they took away. But it's typical Leeds. Oh shit! So there's a man free. I think at some point Darko JB also realizes he's just stood watching the whole thing, and has a oh shit! I need to be 5 yards closer.
Yeah.
And then I'm not entirely sure who it was who was meant to be tracking. I assume it's either JB or Greenwood. I
haven't watched it back. I've heard people say that it was Aronson that was on him at that point, and he left him. But I haven't actually gone back and watched a good enough angle to go back and track it the whole way back. So I've no idea, to be honest.
I'm just watching the first goal now. So there is a man free with about 5 yards of space. Just calling for a pass. When he gets it, JB's just realised, oh, I need to get to that. Llorente then has to sprint out of position. It deflects off him, and it's just terrible.
Yeah, we were a mess in that first half. And I think the thing that said a lot about Leeds fans' state of mind at the minute is people weren't fuming and screaming. Well, I can't talk about in the ground. I mean, I know that they'll have booed him and stuff, and deservedly so. But like in the pub, this wasn't people shouting and screaming and furious. It was borderline laughter. Well, what else did we expect? Like, this is exactly what we're like now.
Yes, but we've been crap before, but now we're being crap to near bottom of the championship.
Yeah. I was glad to see Struijk move into left centre back, but he didn't have his best day. And I do wonder if that's just because he's been out of position all season, or if it's just because it's Cardiff and he has a bit of a mental block about Cardiff.
And being captain.
Yeah, Andy was captain. It was a bit of a weird day. Second half, in fairness, although you couldn't say that like the quality of build-up and everything was great. Well, we were miles the better side, and by the end of it, we could and perhaps should have won it. But I think the main thing that made a massive difference in that half was Rodrigo. He came on about the hour mark, and just his movement up front really made a difference to how we played and actually allowed us to play a little bit of football. It meant that Nonto, when he got on the ball, had a bit more room and could really go at people. He gets the first goal back. We take a short corner to Sam Greenwood. Good cross, good header. Keeper gets a hand on it but can't keep it out. And this was not long after Strauch had missed an absolute sitter from a corner as well.
It has to be said, as critical as I am of us defensively, this is some of the worst marking I've ever seen from a corner, because Rodrigo starts off the corner, stood on the edge of the 6-yard box with two defenders probably 2 yards ahead of him, and not one of them clocks him at all. So when the corner actually when the cross comes in, the defender is backpedaling, doesn't get to it, and Rodrigo just has an easy header where I don't think he even has to move. Is it Greenwood that chips it in?
Yeah, it's Greenwood who takes the cross after the short corner. So
it was almost perfectly on his head. But you just, like, when it was broken down, I was just looking at it going, it's good to see it's not just us.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously he was one of 3 subs on the hour mark. Max Verber came on for JB, which everyone was very surprised by because no one thought his first game had been middle of midfield, but he did well. And Cody Drama came on for Christensen, and Drama looked way more effective than Christensen, but in the same way that it did for Firpo on the other side. It's because our fullbacks didn't have to do any defending in the second half. So it was a bit easier to look good. But in the build-up to the penalty, Firpo, he plays an excellent ball into Mateo Joseph, actually, who got a little flick on. Rodrigo shoots from a tight angle, played out to Firpo, who's continued his run and gone into the exact right place and finishes really well.
With his right foot.
Yeah, great finish. Puts it in the corner, beats the defender so the defender can't get there. Unless he decides to be a goalkeeper. Excellent one-handed save to tip it wide. If it was Leeds in that situation, I'd want the lead. Because we were in there's about 10 minutes left at that point. At that point, it is worth the red card. Good defending. Rodrigo steps up. The one player in a Leeds shirt who's actually looked confident over penalties. And I'd like to say it's it down the middle. Goes for the corner and misses the middle by about a yard. It's a dreadful penalty. It's about as bad. Other than being off target, that's about as bad a penalty as you can take.
If he'd have actually hit it down the middle, would have been fine.
Yeah.
But no, it was about 2. It was probably 2 yards off centre.
Yeah,
and I think he was a very comfortable height.
Yeah, it was just a shite penalty, and that was Leeds. You just thought, yeah, that sounds about right. We did still keep the pressure on though. Kept going, and then late on, Nonto drives down the left again. Nonto was really good in this game. Was getting kicked up in the air constantly, except for when he got booked for diving, which was a dive.
Yeah.
Put us in a cross, and because it's fully what we expect from him. Wonderful little backheel flick on from Firpo that looks like it's going straight at Jack Annick, but Sonny Perkins is in the right place to tap it home. First goal in senior football. I was really pleased for him. It's a bit weird that it came after that under-21s game that we lost 1-0, where Sonny Perkins had the worst game I've ever seen him have.
Yeah, I said at the time, got it out of his system.
Yeah, and gets us a 2-2. Obviously, you don't want to be drawing this. You should just win this game, but at least we're still in it.
Yeah, at this stage, given how we're playing this season, I know there's an argument that to focus on the league, but especially when you're playing teams in divisions below you, it can only do you good to get wins against them, because even if you're putting out that team, which we did, they're still mostly senior players.
Yeah, and in fairness, it sounded like it was going to be slightly more senior than it was. Because, like, Rocker was on the bench, but clearly wasn't fit because he never came on. Harrison was on the bench, but clearly wasn't fit because he never came on. And apparently he was meant to start. And Jesse Marsh has said in his press conference today before the Villa game that if we stay in this cup, he is not planning on making that many changes if he can avoid it.
Yeah, like I can only think it would do us good to win some games, even if it's against teams in the division below us. Just get a win, I'm not saying play everyone, but like for the next game, I was about to say if we play Cardiff again, when we play Cardiff again.
I know we're pessimistic, mate, but I'm pretty sure we'll play. That we'll at least make the replay.
Maybe Rodrigo and Gelhardt.
Given the news today,
Oh God, here we go.
Patrick Bamford, hopefully.
Not against Cardiff.
Well, he's going to be on the bench tomorrow.
I did see that, but I would also say wrap that man in cotton wool.
Oh, no, he needs match fitness. I'd play him and just take him off after either 45 minutes or an hour. If he's fit enough to do so. But yeah, the replay is on Wednesday 18th. If we get through, we have a trip to Accrington or Boreham Wood, which just strikes fear into the heart of me just because it's us. But if you take out it's Leeds and being a Leeds fan, like that, we've got a home replay against Cardiff and then Accrington or Boreham Wood. That means we should be in the 5th round. Now, I want to make very clear, I'm not saying we will, because I'm nowhere near that confident, but we should be. And at that point, you're only, what, would you say one more round away from being able to call it a cup run?
Yeah. For us.
Yeah. Oh, well, for us, it already is.
2 games in the FA Cup. I know they're in the same round, but it's still double what we normally do.
Yeah. So, like, obviously, JB had a good start and then sort of faded a bit. I do really like JB. And as Click has gone, if we don't sign anyone, I think we're going to have to take chances on him a lot this season.
Sorry, are you tweeting out Darko JB sunglasses emoji?
Yeah, basically. Although now that I've seen, I mean, obviously it's an incredibly small sample size, but Werber getting put in midfield, I wonder if that is part of the reason why. I know that we're being linked to a couple of centre mids, but I just don't see it happening. And I wonder if the Werber thing might be another reason why they think now we can get through this.
It did sound like Werber would be playing left back. When Marsh was asked about it, who would play at left back today, without giving it away, it did sound like he was the one.
Well, he said he wants to get him in, but he also specified that he wanted to, he'd want to put him where he's most comfortable. And then he said, which is centre back. And if Werber plays centre back and Strout plays left back, I think I'm going to be fuming. Even if they both play well.
I know it's a small sample size. There was part of me, and I said this on the last podcast, that I think we struggle playing a 3-man midfield where there is no sort of dedicated holding midfielder. And he looked, in that brief appearance, admittedly, like the one that would fit the bill most out of anyone we have, as someone who would do a better job sitting deeper.
Well, it's like to be the destroyer type of midfielder.
Because it's a lot different role than it would have been under Bielsa, whereas there was a lot of pressure placed on like Strauch and Koch to basically be Calvin Phillips when they were asked to play that role. Whereas I think in this system, I think it just needs a win the ball, give it to the other centre mids. And occasionally, if you Werber, smash it from 40 yards and try and hit the target.
Yeah, so we might see that at some point. There has been Well, we'll start with the ins. That hasn't happened yet, but I'm thinking he's probably going to be announced tomorrow by the sounds of everything you're reading. Giorginio Rutter from Hoffenheim. Apparently, it's 28 million euros going up to about 40, which is
a lot of potential.
It's such a lot of money. And then you look at the other transfers in the league and think, but it isn't though, is it? It's just going rate.
It's a lot of money for us because I don't think, even in our third season now, I don't think we're quite used to spending such amounts on players. You know, we're still. I think now we're becoming more accepting of the money we spent on Rodrigo, whereas I think there were times last year when you were looking at how is this man our record signing?
Yeah,
it's I think with the
starting
goals
to age a little bit better.
Yeah, with the goals he's been getting recently, you'd be like, yeah, fair enough. He is good.
Well, I'm not sure how many he's got, but I suppose
11 for the season.
Yeah, he's got 11 this season because he's definitely got 10 in the league. But as ridiculous as it sounds, like I think that he's got, like, I'm just looking at it now. I think he's got 24 in all competitions in 74 games, 73 games. No, 8. Sorry, it's all comps. 24 in 80. So just under 1 in 3. And a 1 in 3 Premier League striker, that is 25 million quid. Even when they're 29. Like, it's just the way that football's gone now. So it is starting to age a bit better. I still think that there was probably ways we could have spent the money better. But still.
Sorry, just looking at this. That was literally the first goal he scored in a cup game.
Yeah, that's what put me off.
That's a very odd. It's a very odd statistic.
We're never in it.
No. But we've played a couple of League Cup games where we've scored a few as well.
Yeah.
I just assumed he might have got one in there, but
yeah, but under Bielsa, when Rodrigo wasn't playing in them.
Yeah, true. Ollie Casey was playing up front and in defence.
Based on, I mean, you'll have probably read slightly more since then, seen more videos floating about. Are you excited about Rutter?
Yeah. I'm excited about the idea of him.
No, you don't love me. You don't love me. You love the idea of me.
There is that little bit when it's okay. Oh yeah, he's very versatile. And I'm like, I tell you what, we're not lacking in it in the forward department is versatile attacking players.
Yeah, I
don't know how it's.
Like, I don't know how it's happened.
Like, I know he's got good. Like his closing down statistics are quite good, and his chance creation statistics are good. And I do think he would be a good fit for if Bamford's not there, or even if he is there. But to sort of have him and Rodrigo together in a team, I think that would work better. But when I start talking about versatility, I'm like, right, but we've got Nonto and Somerville and Aronson, Harrison, Dan James, Sinister. Like, we've got a lot of players who can play sort of anywhere in the sort of front four positions.
Yeah,
and then there's Pat Bamford, who is a striker.
There's two things with it. One is that I find it weird if Marsh is involved with this. Why someone who's ever had Erling Haaland seems to be avoiding the idea of an out-and-out 9. Just seems weird to me. But the main question I was going to ask is based on it, and it sounds like you do based on what you said. Do you think this could see us return to that 4-2-4 that he started with?
I think that would make the most sense, because certainly as in terms of the pressing style, it's always gonna have to start a little bit deeper if Rodrigo is your sole striker. He clearly needs a partner up there to press from the middle. And there have been times in games when you'll see either Harrison or Aronson, whoever's playing at 10, will kind of go ahead of him to make the press. But I don't ever feel that's entirely by design, and it's never been a whole 90-minute plan.
No, I think the only time it was very by design was the Man City game, Where
Yeah,
Aronson
when we shuffled him off to the right, just go, if the ball falls to you, try and score.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just kind of watch Nathan Ake a bit.
Yeah. Like, obviously, it hasn't been announced yet, so he's not available tomorrow. But, I mean, if he could be available... Have they still got that rule where if you're not available for the first game, you can't play in the replay?
I don't know.
I don't even know if that was a rule or if it was just talked about. I honestly can't remember.
Yeah,
it's
not something I really remember. But
no, depending on what it is, maybe we'll see 20 minutes of him on Wednesday, which would be nice. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I think that the 4-2-4 with like Rutter and Rodrigo, assuming Bamford isn't going to be fully fit for a while yet, and then Nonto and one other at the minute, because Somerville's out for a month with an injury picked up in the Cardiff game from getting hoofed up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't look good when he went down, which is a shame because again, he's looked lively. Him and Nonto have had some nice link-up play together. And again, after the Cardiff game, I couldn't help but thinking, like, God, get Brendan Aronson out of this team for a few weeks.
Yeah, but if it's a 4-2-4 right now and Marsh had to pick it, I think it'd be Nonto on the left and Aronson on the right.
Yeah.
But we'll see. There has been a couple of transfers out. One with slightly more effect on the first team than the other, although neither should have much of one. Alpha McCalmont's gone on to Carlisle for the season. I'm just glad he's gone somewhere.
Yeah, I'm glad he's playing first team football because for him, to be honest, for all parties, it's a waste him playing in the under-21s.
Well, I mean, it's not like this is his first loan either, is it? I mean,
This be his third.
Yeah, just look. I mean, he had a full season at Oldham, a full season at Morecambe. He didn't play every game, but he played most of them. And it's easy to forget. He's got 4 senior international caps.
Yeah,
he needs to be playing. So I'm just glad he's gone. And hopefully, whether it's a move to Carlisle or the move to, I still think talent-wise, it can go a bit higher than that. But just so long as he gets his move. And then one that, because of the signing of Max Verber, this makes all the sense of the world. Leo Hjelde, about an hour and a half ago, got announced he's gone on loan to Rotherham for the season.
Yeah, that came out a few days ago, didn't it? That it was looking like interest. Where are they? Are they in the Championship? Or are they League One? No, bottom end of the Championship. So
they're doing their normal thing. They went down, they came back up. They went down, they came back up, and now they're down at the bottom end.
Yeah, I mean, at least he's joined a club in form. Lost 4 out of the last 5.
Yeah, but once Verber came in, like Yelder's position is he would either play left centre back or left back if needed. Well, for left back now, you've got Struijk, Verber, and Firpo, and for left centre back, you've got Struijk, Verber, and Cooper.
Yeah,
and I know that there's crossover in them, but you've also for left centre back got the right-footed centre backs can play there as well. It's unlikely that he's ever going to see more than 10 minutes here and there. So, yeah, send him out on loan. Hopefully he plays every week.
I did see, and I can't say, I read the article, I can't say I looked too much into it. The reports that apparently Real Betis are interested in bringing Junior Firpo back.
Yeah, I mean, it was big enough that I couldn't say it was definitely bollocks, which is more than most of them. Like when they tweeted out earlier today saying QSI are back in for Leeds, and everyone went, no, they're fucking not. And then 3 hours later, they had to delete it because, yeah, no, they're fucking not. The Firpo thing is weird because quite clearly he hasn't been good enough, and I would be absolutely fine with him going to Betis. However, he is the only left back at the club, even including the children. Like, he's the only actual left back we have.
I may have, in conversation with someone just talking about the Cardiff game, have said, I wonder if it's like Gareth Bale, where it actually turns out if we put him on the left wing, he's actually really good.
I mean,
I look at that attacking
is stretching it.
I look at that attacking performance against Cardiff, but he looked so much better going forward than he did ever defending.
Yeah, it's a weird one. He's Firpo.
The fact both for the penalty and for the goal, he was in between the penalty spot and the 6-yard box. And
Well,
he
can you
was the
remember?
left back.
If you remember, the first time we saw him for Leeds was that Blackburn friendly we went to, the first game after lockdown and everything.
He loved
And
an
he made
underlapping run.
He made that run 15 times. It was our main talking point on the drive home was Firpo's inverted wing-back runs into the penalty box. Was like our main talking point on the way home. We'll see if maybe he gets a bit of confidence and maybe he can at least become, an option off the bench if you're chasing a game. Because I would really, really like for him to end up being some good. I just can't see it in a million.
No, I think it's got to the point now where between his form and the injuries, it's not working, is it?
No.
It
my
very much
ideal
feels like we post him back with the receipt and hope we get something back for it.
Yeah, like it's got loan with a permanent move at like 6 million written all over it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Because that's like less than half what we paid, but you'd take it. And then they don't take up the option. That's basically what's written up.
And then Helder Costa comes back.
And we just need what we'll say is as much as Firpo's been crap and not up to it and all of that stuff, if we were to let him go, we really then do again have to sign a left back. Because the backup would have been Yelder and we've just sent him out on loan. In fact, Yelder going is one of the reasons why I don't think it's happening.
I mean, I really think in this transfer window, they certainly need to sign a left back for the 21s.
Yeah, if there's a kid, I mean, I saw an annoying thing earlier. Do you remember one that we were very much after? He was at Hibs at the time, Josh Doig. Like he's, he ended up going to Verona and he's been shit hot. And is like apparently going to Inter Milan or something next, which is a bit annoying because Scotland can produce one thing and it's left backs.
Who's because the other one they had was that went abroad was it was Aaron Hickey, wasn't it? He went abroad as well. I think he's more of a right back, but he can play both.
And now he's at Brentford, isn't he?
Yeah,
but he's mainly played left back, but I think he's right. I think he might be right-footed though.
I think he's predominantly right-footed, but I know from the last FM I had him for a couple of years. And mostly used him at left back.
Yeah, so I'm just that is one thing that's under. Obviously, the striker is more important. I think a centre mid would be big as well. But I still think that we need a left back, and even if that is whether it's a starting left back and Voba's going to play inside, or whether it's just a left back for the 21s, there definitely needs to be some squad depth there. Alex Bennison sending us a message saying. I'd sign Brandon Williams on loan from, he said us, because, and I want to make this very clear, he is a scum bastard. And despite him being one of my friends, I hate him.
How dare you talk about Dan James that way?
But to be honest, if Brandon Williams is there and isn't out on loan somewhere, I would have him on loan till the end of the season. I wouldn't start him much, but he'd be there in the squad, would probably be fine. He looked decent in an admittedly shit Norwich team. But will we look decent tomorrow night? Aston Villa away, Friday night. Was it Friday night when we went there last season and we drew 3-0?
No, I think that was Thursday.
And
it was midweek. I don't think it was Friday. Because I'm almost certain I'd work the next day.
Yeah. No, it was just one of them weird ones that I just had it in my head that it wasn't, but I had no actual knowledge on whether it was or not. No, it was a Wednesday. Yeah, this probably won't be as exciting game as that, but that might in a way be a good thing, to be honest. So yeah, Villa away. We had a not great result in the cup. They had a worse one. 1-0 up against
Stevenage. Down their
Stevenage.
City Hall.
Yeah, 1-0 up against Stevenage with like 10 minutes left and lose 2-1 is never good. They they had a good start under Emery, but they've sort of faded a bit. Obviously, they got beat by Liverpool, then they won at Spurs, but the draw against Wolves is a bad result, and then losing to Stevenage. There was a little bit of talk that they're on about getting rid of Danny Ings, and if we weren't signing Rutter, and depending on the money, I know he's another injury-prone striker, but I do really like him.
Yeah, they've kind of gone. I think they've really struggled this season. I think Gerrard had the issue as well of really getting Ings and Watkins playing together. But I think when it's also trying to fit in, like I think they've almost had to abandon Coutinho as a starting option. Like they seem to be all in on Buendia at this point. Which is curse of the loan move.
Yeah, well, he's switched to like a 4-4-2, and he has sometimes used like Leon, but he's used wingers as strikers some of the time, and some of the time you might get Ings and Watkins. But it's been a little bit more of a 4-4-2 for him, and that doesn't really suit Coutinho at all. Whereas Buendia playing off the left, although Coutinho can do it, Buendia just seems to be in better form. Obviously, they've got a world-class goalkeeper in Emi Martinez, and there's not very much you can do about that. They're signing Alex Moreno from Betis as a left-back, which is one of the reasons for the Firpo link. But they already had Digne backed up by Augustinson. Digne's a bit suspect defensively, though, sometimes, so you can get at him. Centre-backs will probably be Mings and Konsa, because Diego Carlos is still out, isn't he? They've been playing Ashley Young as the right back. Have they got an actual right back that isn't like really old and stuff?
Well, it's because Matty Cash has moved up to midfield again, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, Matt Cash, of course. I'd actually, for some reason, I'd managed to forget about him, but they've been playing him as like the right mid in the 4-4-2, haven't they?
I'm gonna say it's Cash playing under Steven Gerrardski.
Yeah, that it'll be interesting if that happens.
What an off move!
Yeah. So we've mentioned Buendia off the left. If they play two in midfield, like we've got Douglas Luiz and that Camara, who are both pretty good. They can play Cash in there if they want to. And Jacob Ramsey, if he's fit, is good. John McGinn, as much as he's an arsehole, is a pretty good player. And Leander Dendoncker as well can play at the back or in midfield if needed.
I'm just trying to find the game from last season because it's just quite funny looking at it.
Well, we completely fell apart, didn't we? Like in 50, was it like 3 goals in 10 minutes or something?
A defensive horror show is what
we
saw.
That was Jacob Ramsey just running from midfield, wasn't he? Unmarked and running 50 yards.
Yeah, Luke Ayling sort of desperately trying, but not really getting particularly close to like Coutinho as well was on fire for that one.
Yeah, and as I said before, we've got Watkins and Ings as actual strikers. He might play both of them, but based on what he's done lately, it'll probably be one of them with Leon Bailey. I think he likes the way that he stretches the play and stuff, so we'll see what happens with that. It's a Villa are a weird side. I'm not sure what to make of them. Because I would say that on paper, they've got a like solid squad, but not better than that. 12th in the Premier League sort of squad. But
sorry, I'm just looking at these two teams, and it's very different out for both of them. Like we're just looking because we had Dallas, Click, Cockers in midfield, Rafinha, goal scoring sensation Dan James with a brace.
Yeah, what was it? He got 2 and Diego Llorente got the other one?
Yeah, he got the equaliser.
And did they have 2 from Ramsey and 1 from Coutinho?
Yes. Because there was just runners everywhere.
Yeah, and Coutinho kept just finding himself with fucking 20 yards of space, 30 yards out.
I'll tell you
which is never good.
subs bench, and I know this is, peak injury season for us, but it's got Tyler Roberts, Lewis Bate, Leo Hjelde, Stuart McKinstry, and Jamie Shackleton on it.
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
Oh, and Noah Kenner, who that's the game he got booked in, isn't it?
No, his booking without playing was at Wolves. No, it was at Wolves.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
When he could have booked every single sub because they all sprinted all the way across the pitch.
Sorry, wrong Midlands area.
Yeah. But yeah, so they've got a decent side. Main news for us is that Bamford's in the squad, apparently. I'll believe it when I see it, for what it's worth. But you would think that that's on the bench. Obviously, there is going to be changes from the last game because the last game we had made so many changes anyway. I'm just trying to think, like, what do you reckon that our lineup will be? Sort of, it's more compared to the Newcastle game, isn't it? Really?
I'm assuming it's back to Ayling at right back because he seems to be the favoured right back at the moment.
Yeah. Cock and... Do you think it'll still be Cock and Cooper, or do you think it'll be Cock and Strauch and Verber at left back? Maybe flipping Strauch and Verber around.
I think he sticks with Cock and Cooper. Given how Strauch has played both at left back and at centre back since the return, I don't know if I want to throw him back in at this point.
So you think it'll be Cock, Cooper, Verber?
I think so, yeah. Like I think that would be the option. I know Firpo is the attacking threat in the side now. Yeah. And then I think we're back to Rocker, Adams, Greenwood.
So do you think it'll be a flat 3?
It's been a very flat 3. Yeah, I mean, again, I can't say I've thought a right lot of Sam Greenwood, but I also don't think he's a centre mid when it gets to this level. No,
I do think that when our chance creation is this poor, the main thing that will keep him in is that we actually look a threat from set pieces when he's there. And that really can make a difference. I mean, it'll definitely be Adams and Rocket. I'm just trying to think whether if they're going 4-4-2, I do wonder if we will be tempted to actually sort of play a bit more 4-2-4 in this game. Just because it's 2v2 in middle of midfield, and this is the one time you can get away with it. And the one thing I will say, that back four, well, especially in the middle, Konsa and Mings. Obviously, Tyrone Mings is one of the best defenders in the world, and we love him for what he did at the end of last season. But you wouldn't say either of them are unlikely to make a mistake if you press them.
Yeah.
So, I wonder if he might put Aronson up with Rodrigo, and then put
Harrison and
Nonto on the wings.
Yeah, I mean, you most likely going back to Harrison inside forward then, but
yeah,
which I'm not mad keen on.
No, I mean, he could also just play Harrison he might well play Harrison at a 10 again. You could also, and the problem is that I don't have any faith in him to do it, and that is just play Rodrigo and Gelhardt, but I don't think he's going to do that.
No, I think that would be better. I think having seen that Cardiff game, I think it suits Gelhardt to have a partner up there. Because I think he was all over the place against Cardiff trying to get on the ball.
Yeah, I think it is going to end up 4-2-3-1. I think it will be Rodrigo up top, Aronson, Harrison, and Nonto. But I think one of Harrison or Aronson is going to end up borderline playing as a striker. They're going to be really pushing up to press.
Do you think Greenwood drops out then? And it's
I think
Adams.
I think Greenwood is the one to drop out. Yeah, but I'm certainly not sure on it by any stretch. Yeah, that'll be an interesting one. We both had us winning against Cardiff, so we didn't get anything. Gelhardt to score and Leeds to win didn't happen. I would have to check the corners, actually, because I feel like there was a lot of corners in that game.
Did I say two corners for both teams in each half?
Yeah.
Cardiff only had 2 corners all game.
Okay, right, cool. Then I don't need to check that. I'm
So,
glad that
no.
you knew. So yeah, what do you reckon the result will be in this one?
For some bizarre reason, I am feeling confident, and I don't know why. So I'm going to say Leeds to win 1-0. We're keeping a clean sheet as well.
A clean sheet. Wow. I've only just remembered that this is what I went for against West Ham, and it came in, but it is what I'd written down already. I can't see us not conceding a couple, but I think we might score. I've ended up 2-2 again. I have no faith in us to be able to keep a team out, even slightly.
Even after Newcastle, it's yeah. I sort of agree with you. I don't know why, but
you've just got that feeling.
Yes. So here's to a shipping 5.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to be going relatively simple for this one. I'm just going to check what price is. Check it isn't something ridiculously short. Oh, in fact, it isn't short at all. Yeah, I'm going to have Nonto first goal. 1. In fact, I will probably have a look on Oddschecker and see if there's any bookies that have that at a bigger price, because there probably will.
Ooh, I'll tell you what I'm going to go back to my old favourite, and I'm going to go Jack Harrison first goal scorer at 14-1.
Yeah, he was always your guy, wasn't he?
14 seems a touch high
for what it's worth. For what it's worth, I can get 11 for Nonto, and you've got Harrison first at 14.
Yeah.
Right, cool. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, we really need a win soon. But does this come under? Probably not as much as West Ham. Like, do you reckon that this is another in the must not lose category?
Yeah, I mean, if we win, it will put us on 20 points, 2 points behind Villa, and it would give us a better goal difference because we currently both have -6 at the moment.
And we would be like, obviously the game in hand would come back the next day, but it would have us 5 points above the relegation zone with everyone having played an equal number of games. It would be a massive one to win, but I could live with a draw. And an away point, basically, unless at the minute you're playing Bournemouth or Southampton, and Southampton just beat Man City.
You've also got on Saturday Wolves and West Ham.
That's quite a big. But to be honest, having watched from what I've seen of them, I fancy West Ham for that. Could be a very poor game though.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's got quality written all over it, but it's two teams that are not playing well. That's from. I just noticed I'm looking at the league table from last season for some reason. I was wondering why.
Is it because you were looking for the Leeds Villa game before?
I think it was, yeah, because I was like, why aren't West Ham down there? So yeah, if you've got. So again, that's another one that could do with. Ideally, you'd want a draw. Yeah. From our perspective. So I'm just trying to see if there's any other Southampton, Everton as well.
Oh, I'll tell you what. Is that at Southampton?
It is at Everton.
I wonder if Southampton have got some, because they really did do well against Man City. If Southampton win that, do you think that's at Lampard?
If you've lost to a team that have, under a new manager, lost 4 games in a row, and before that they weren't playing well, so
because Mashiri's come out and sort of given him his backing, but that doesn't mean anything. It'll be interesting, but hopefully, first things first, hopefully we can get a result tomorrow night. Have we else to go through, KC, or are we good?
Yeah, I think we got everything.
Right, nice one. So that will do us for episode 194 of the Mighty Lights podcast. I'm, again, as always, not sure what day we'll be back. It depends on work schedules and things like that. But yeah, hopefully when we do come back, we're celebrating a good result. So I've been Jack. See ya.
I'm in KC.